Frogmore is.
Bus driver.
There you go. We've got bus drivers in the south of France. You couldn't fail.
Barcelona.
Yeah, true. Barcelona. Oh god, yeah, I'll get in trouble for that one. Catalonia. Fair enough. So we're here to help, Shoots. That's what we're saying.
Talking of Tyler Katz fan, he got in touch and said, just listening to the latest BBC Rugby League podcast and understood everything JJB said. Is this worth an award?
No, you're just ruining our bit about how incomprehensible JJB is. So cheers, Tyler.
So we're just keeping out any sort of suggestion that he can be understood now from future podcasts.
Yeah, very much.
Fair enough. Brian Davies again, he said Samoa gave the Samoa game, talking about the England-Samoa game, which we touched on last week. He said Samoa game gives players experience of travel and playing in Australia, a step towards more internationals and builds interest for the World Cup.
Very sensible point. It's hard to argue with facts and stuff like that, is it? It's all very...
Yeah, I think obviously we want, from a perspective of the Super League sides, there's disruption there and stuff like that, but there's another side to that coin that definitely Brian's more than highlighted there, and let's just hope that it's a good outing for the boys. Neil McEwen says he's also talking about the same topic. He said Widnes won't be affected by the mid-season game in Oz, as we're shit this season, so nobody will be selected.
That's very true. Okay, well, sorry, Neil. There's not a lot of you being dragged out of that, really, is there?
He gave a thumbs up.
He does give us a thumbs up.
He understands what's going on.
He's saying he's got a song in his heart, if nothing else.
Rich Wilkinson said, now then, lads, love the show as always. Can we nip this in the bud?
I laughed when I read this.
Wyatt aren't doing a Leeds. Surely it's a Huddersfield. Just like Wyatt, they've won fuck all for ages too. Wyatt would have to win a trophy, then fall from grace to do a Leeds. As for Tyler Casvan, he needs to put his hard on back in his pants. He can have his March premiers hammering Leeds. I trumped that with the 2014 Cup final drubbing. Know which will stand the test of time. Banjos at half-mast this week.
He's come out firing, hasn't he, our Rich, this week? I like his style.
I would say that we're not talking about whether or not Warrington did a Leeds 2015 or 2004 to 2015. We're talking about them doing a Leeds 2016, which is a highly fancied team, seeing the arse fall out of the season early doors.
He does make a very interesting point, though. Leeds' fall from grace was much more than Warrington.
More for now.
Exactly, it was far better. And to be fair, I'm the authority in teams falling from grace over a period of time, so I know whereof I speak.
Yeah. Rich also said, was question 1 on the trivia last week, players who won the man of the match on the losing team.
Are we going to reveal what the answer was yet, or should we go through a couple? Have we got a couple more?
Well, Cutthroat Jake says, so John says, stab in the dark, but was question 1 all man of the match winners as losing finalists? Lee Whitnell says, I know I'm late with this, but Ellery Hanley and Mick Potter both coached St Helens 10 years apart, trying to figure out the other one now. I stupidly wasted the 90s and noughties accumulating worthless football trivia. Ooh, man of the match in losing final teams.
There you go. Right, who's this one?
Pete Jackson, at Pete__ Jacko87, said, now then, lads.
Can I just say, at this point, anybody who wants to start a tweet or a message with now then, lads, is alright by me. Let's get that be a thing. Hashtag, now then, lads.
Now then, lads, another fantastic episode, and I actually managed to get 3 quiz questions right this week. Have you lads thought of doing a live broadcast like the Radio Yorkshire lot? They're getting more listeners every week. Hashtag promote SLP.
Well, I think we go about things in a slightly different fashion to Radio Yorkshire, given the fact that we do it in a flat in Lytham St Anne's.
We are less professional than them.
No, we're just more acoustic.
We're
artisanal.
One thing we do differently to them is pay people money for tickets that's getting donated towards a charity far faster.
Yeah, we do that, yeah, absolutely.
But other than that thing that we do differently to them, they also have, actual radio journalists, actual journalists, in the sport who've written books and contribute regularly to magazines and newspapers and stuff, and have an actual former player amongst their ranks. And people are paid some money sometimes to do the things they do.
I'm thinking of trying to get another
We just sit around talking about rugby league. I mean, to be honest, if we had the technical know-how, the time, this doesn't fit into the wheelhouse of our normal everyday life jobs and that sort of thing, does it?
No.
It's a big departure from what we are and what we do, other than being rugby league fans.
This is part of it. We're passionate about this as a hobby, aren't we?
The fact that this exists at all shocks me every week. so we need you guys who are equally shocked that this still exists to help do the promotion rather than expecting us to pull out some sort of gimmicks. I do think that there's scope for maybe live shows in a more meet-up environment at some point in the future and that sort of thing. That's what I'd like to do, but not and maybe at some point we'll change how we do the show. And so then it might go out live. But
we need to acquire some technical skill with that one.
Yeah, and the edit and all that stuff. Yeah.
Although in terms of the ex-players thing, I did recently become Facebook friends with one Mr. Stanley Jean, and very nearly when I'd had a glass of wine.
Did he like your relationship status change?
He did like it. Yes, he couldn't believe I was only 25. Funny how that turns around on itself, isn't it? So yeah, no, that was me just trying to slip Stanley Jean in, so to speak.
Fair enough.
Something I'm sure Mrs. Jean has to do quite often too.
Darts at Mitchell Darts. I think this might round us off on the quiz on the quiz feature this week. So he says, another great episode always. Attach my trivia results for this week. The one I missed. I'm trying to find out the link. So he goes, he was 2 out of 3 with the 16-year-olds. He chose Jason Robinson for the Wigan one over Farrell. He got the Golden Boot winners connection, which you also picked up on. He got the Ellery Hanley and Mick Potter, they both coached St Helens one. That was the first one. He says, P.S. I'll choose to be honoured to be a part of Tom's morning constitutional.
Well, you were that following morning as well, Darts. And there's no great shame in picking Jason Robinson instead of Faz. They were both spawning children left, right, and centre by about that same age. So that's a clue. It's putting you in the right direction, hasn't it?
Yeah. So everyone that's got in touch about that one is right. Ellery Hanley and Mick Potter were the two players who won the respective Man of Steel or Dally M in playing for different teams.
Yep.
The only two who've won it playing for different teams, and both coached St Helens 10 years apart. 1999 for Hanley and Mick Potter coached them in 2009 and for a period around then. The one that you didn't get, the other people, Ethan O'Gorman took an age to get close to it. Bless him. He was plugging away. Never quite hit the nail quite on the head. It was losing Man of the Match awards for losing finalists in the Super League era.
Yes.
So those were the only 4 players who've had said
cross challenge cups and grand finals.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what confused me.
Yeah.
Or threw me off. So yeah, congratulations to everyone who did get those right though. Bravo.
Yeah. Got some family related stuff later on because it was Mother's Day yesterday.
Okay.
I've got 17 trivia points about Julie Burgess. For us to guess which ones are true and which ones are false.
Fair enough.
No, it's something else.
Because I've got her phone number, so
Your friends are on Facebook.
No, she's got 4 handy lads knocking about. Some of them are in reserve grade these days, but you can probably still cut the mustard.
Well, thanks to his very handy twin brother, he wasn't in the reserve grade this week. But no, it's not. It's not to do with mothers, but it is to do with brothers. Okay, final point on the feedback. Willows Road at Willows Road. Get around our friend there.
Yeah.
We don't hear from Willows as much as we used to.
We enjoyed it, didn't we? It was always a very valued contributor. It was funny and informative.
Yeah, and we kept his secret, so...
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay, so he sent us a tweet regarding...
To be fair, he's kept a few of mine that you're unaware of. So, maybe we're all square on that one, Willows?
Regarding this month's No Helmets Required blog on the Guardian website, which is done by our friend Gavin Willisey, he's Preston North End fan. I saw someone at the Fylde game with a coat that was like a fake North Face coat, and instead of it saying the North Face, it said the North End.
Oh, God. Well, they've obviously started marketing those in the shop.
I enjoyed that. Anyway, he said regarding that, the No Helmets Required blog on the Guardian website, he said it's an interesting read, perspective on rugby league fans moaning about TV, but 12 matches are broadcast live every week. Well, rugby league fans want to moan. Yeah. I couldn't quite gather if Neil McEwen's reply was being sarcastic or genuine when he said, madness how I can only watch 2 or 3 live Super League games a week, but every NRL game the RFL needs to get a grip could easily have more games on TV. I'm not sure.
I think the problem with that is that, as we all know, the esteem with which rugby league is held within the sporting zeitgeist in Australia is much higher than it is here, so the demand is greater, isn't it? That's why they get that level of coverage and the money's there.
They've got a dedicated rugby league channel, which we don't even have a dedicated association football channel.
No.
Even though it feels like we do, because, well, I suppose some clubs have their own dedicated channels on for subscription, don't they?
Yes, they do.
For an extra subscription. We don't even have a football channel, even though every Sky channel often feels like it's a football channel. But that's where the interest is in Australia compared to where it is here. I've been thinking, could the RFL have like a streaming service that'd follow the sort of one camera-ish type setup that we've been seeing from that Wigan TV do for Wigan's reserves and academy games, but can't do for the Super League games. I guess there's rights issues there. But if the Super League could get around the rights issues when the broadcasting deal's next brought up, to have a streaming service that will stream all the games in some form or fashion, and then the Sky or whatever TV contract too, then people could pay a subscription to the games, then maybe they'd have a blackout on the Sky televised games, so you couldn't watch those on the app or what have you. Some sort of agreement could be come to there, I suppose. Or you couldn't watch them for a certain amount of days after they've been on TV. For the Sky ones.
Just stream the non-televised, whatever Sky chooses to have televised is televised, and then the RFL can stream the remaining 3 or 4 fixtures from the weekend.
Because according to what I've read, the BBC costs for these one camera setup type online streaming games is about 1/10 of the cost of a full outside broadcast, with multiple fixed camera positions, a couple of walking around cameramen, that sort of thing. It's like 1/10 of the cost. So if there's enough interest in the subscription, then you could put other things on there as well, like you could get your shows or your interviews with players or whatever filtered through there, and then someone might pay us some coin to take this more seriously, and then we can give Pete what he wants and the people what they want.
That's what we want. That's what we're here for, to give people what they want.
Within the realms of what we can do.
From the confines of the podcast studio, absolutely. Okay, anyway, thank you everyone who got in touch this week. Yeah, that was tons, and that's what makes Super League Pod so wonderful for us, as well as all your feedback. So, moving on from that, let's take a look now at news from around the world of rugby league. So then, to news from the world of rugby league then, and we'll start with the news that Sport England has slashed its funding towards rugby league, offering £10.75 million over the next 4-year period. The funding received is a 38% deduction from the previous 4-year cycle, when the RFL was awarded £17.5 million to help the development of the game. Rugby league is not the only sport to receive a significant cut to funding. Rugby union saw their payment drop from 20 million to 12.6, while basketball and table tennis were other sports that were distributed smaller funds. Between 2017 and 2020, the fund will aid the creation of more opportunities for people to participate at both school and university level, plus aid the development of alternative modes of the game, such as touch rugby league, tri-tag rugby league and wheelchair rugby league. Chief Executive Officer Nigel Wood said the RFL appreciates all of the public funding that has come into the sport. The investment from Sport England will assist us in supporting and growing areas that have a strong rugby league player base, and will enable the RFL to focus on enabling more people to keep playing the sport they love. We understand the need to create new funding streams into all levels of the game if we are to truly maximise the opportunity of hosting the Rugby League World Cup in 2021. And like all sports organisations, the RFL is working hard to reduce reliance on public investment. According to a statement, the RFL says it was advised by Sport England that it would initially be able to bid for an award between 9 million and 11 million, and was informed today that it would receive 98% of the maximum available to it, which comes to 10.75 million. In addition to this, the RFL is able to bid in